Welcome back to more Cake Yes Mom Badass at a Bar. I'm your girl Jelena, and today I'm going to show you how I made this chocolate cake, two-tiered cake. It's so pretty. Now, I thought this technique was called like a chocolate swirl cake, but it's actually called a chocolate cage cake. And it's my first time ever making one. So yeah, it was so easy, a little stressed because it was my first time. But let's just go ahead and get into it and you guys can see how easy it is. Now, before I start this tutorial, go ahead and give me a thumbs up because you like me or you like this video and you want to see more of these videos, and leave a comment down below on what kind of chocolate cakes you guys are making, because you know Valentine's is coming up. You know your girl gonna want some chocolate, your man gonna want some chocolate, you know what I mean? You get chocolate. I mean, it's just, I don't tell you, chocolate is just the bomb. Anyways, so yeah, Valentine's is coming up and this will be a perfect cake to make for a customer or a loved one. Okay, I need to calm down, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. So I first went ahead and sketched out my cake. If you want to see that sketch, you got to go over to my HBIC group to get that detailed behind the scenes prep that I do. Also, I tell you how much this cake cost me to make versus how much it cost me to sell. So you get that little gem too. Make sure you hit the like button, comment below, and if you're not subscribed, what the hell? Subscribe. You're here. Might as well just hit it. And then hit the notification bell also, that way you're notified every time I drop one of these beautiful videos for you. You're welcome. Alright, let's get into it. The first thing I did was, besides after the sketch, was I went ahead and melted my chocolate. Now the chocolate I used is Nestle. Why, you ask? Is a very specific reason why I use Nestle. Because you see this little sale sign right there? This was on sale and this is what I had in my cupboard. So you can use any chocolate you actually want for this. Chocolate milk, regular smegular chocolate like this, Hershey's, you know, hashtag not sponsored. Any chocolate would do just fine. This chocolate so happened to be like the mini morsel. I popped this whole bag in a bowl because I thought I needed this entire thing, not really thinking. Well, also I wanted to be prepared to have my chocolate already melted and I didn't have to like scramble around, and you know, chocolate can get messy. So if you don't know how to melt chocolate, let me explain it to you really quick. All you just gotta do is get a bowl that's safe to go in your microwave. I like to use glass bowls or porcelain bowls for this for a specific reason, because the heat tends to stay in there. The glass and the porcelain stay nice and warm and it keeps the chocolate much more smoother, I found, than using plastic. Same thing if I use like a cup to melt chocolate, I'll use a glass cup, not a glass cup, but a porcelain cup, like a coffee mug or something. Those tend to keep your chocolate much more warmer and smoother to mix. I don't know why, I don't know the science behind it. Don't be asking me questions. Yeah, no, I'm not like a chocolate know-it-all, so I just do what has become easier for me to handle. You're welcome. Look at me, just filled with information for you guys. So I popped this in the microwave at 30-second intervals, and in between each 30 seconds, I made sure I stirred until it became nice and smooth. I then used some of my vegetable oil and I poured 2 capfuls in there. Now, this bag is a 20-ounce bag. This is 20 ounces, which is also the equivalent of 1 pound, 4 ounces. And I used 2 capfuls of vegetable oil, and the reason why I use the vegetable oil for 2 reasons. 1, to get the chocolate nice and kind of shiny. 2, to get it even more runny, because it was a little thick, and in order for it to kind of have a smooth consistency when I squeezed it out of the squeezy bottle, I needed it to be a little more runny. So you can start with, which was what I did, I started with 1 capful and then I stirred it. I wasn't happy with the consistency, so then I added another cap. And then also, you don't want to add like water. Water will stiffen up your chocolate. Oil is already in chocolate, so it's already there. It's gonna help you out. Practice, you know, pray, prepare for when you use chocolate. So while that was melting in my microwave and I was taking it out and stirring, simultaneously I grabbed some parchment paper. I went ahead and measured my cake first. I just took, you can either take a measuring tape or you could take the parchment paper itself. I have a measuring tape. What you do is, say my head is the cake. You take your parchment paper or your measuring tape and you measure from one side. Now I'm doing a wraparound cake. Sometimes some people just do one-sided cages. It's completely up to what you want to do. But I'm doing a wraparound cage, so I took it from one side of the cake, wrapped my parchment paper or measuring tape around the cake, came back, and whatever it landed on, oh my god, my head is huge. 24, I made sure that's how much parchment paper I ripped off. And then also you want to measure the height so that way you know how long your parchment paper should be. Now I rolled out my piece of parchment paper. My chocolate was nice and ready. I made sure I did another little nice stir. It was ready. I picked up my spatula and it did that like ribbon effect where it like drizzles off of the spatula. I went ahead and put it in a squeezy bottle. After I squeezed my chocolate in here, I literally just went for it. I did think of a pattern I wanted to do, but then I was like, okay, it's my first time, cool your jets, Jelena. Let's just do something simple, nothing too drastic. And I was making this for Valentine's theme, but I didn't want to be too literal and just do hearts. I thought chocolate and strawberries was obviously literal enough for Valentine's, so I just did swirls, like squiggly line swirls all over the place. This already comes with a hole at the top of it, so you don't have to like cut it. I would not suggest that you cut it bigger unless you want your chocolate lines to be thicker, okay? But you just want to be wary of that because you don't want the chocolate to come out too fast and you got bulgy parts everywhere that you weren't really looking for. I had my chocolate come out nice and thin and my lines were nice and thin. It was very dainty and cute. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. To prepare my cake, after I had frosted it, I set it in the fridge. I already had stacked my cake also because I wanted to kind of get that out of the way. I didn't want to have to touch my cake once I put the chocolate around it. Chocolate melts very easy the moment you touch it. It's just done. So I didn't want to mess with it. Not to mention I was making this on a very warm day, a few days before it snowed here in Georgia, which was weird. But I stuck it in the fridge to chill, and it was chilled to the touch, meaning when you touch your cake, there's no frosting coming anywhere. Everything's just stiff, nice, perfect. So I took it out. I picked up my parchment paper with the drizzled chocolate. Now, you think that you have to wait till the chocolate stiffens a little bit. You don't want to do that because your chocolate may crack the moment you want to wrap it around your cake. Right? So what I did was, as soon as I finished covering my entire parchment paper with all the chocolate swirls I wanted, I immediately took my cake out and I took my parchment paper and wrapped it around my cake. And you want to be very careful with this. You may even need some help if your cake is as big as mine, because something can happen where your parchment paper starts to fold the wrong way, or you want to be careful also because you really don't want the parchment paper to touch the cake and then you peel it off, because now the chocolate's on the cake. You know what I mean? So you want to be really careful. So once the parchment paper touched the cake, I didn't even mess with it. Even if the parchment paper was folded weird, I just left it because I was too afraid that I was just gonna like have smudge of chocolate if I kept messing with it. So I just went ahead and wrapped it around. Some parts of my parchment paper were not touching the cake and I was fine with it. I was like, child, we're gonna see what this came up to be. We just gotta do what we gotta do. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was surprised because my cake was chilled. So as I went ahead and just kind of went around my parchment with my hand, I noticed my chocolate wasn't smudging, but I was being very careful. I did not take the parchment paper off of the chocolate right away. I stuck it back in the fridge to chill, and I went ahead, grabbed another piece of parchment paper. Is anybody keeping track of how many times I've said parchment paper? I grabbed another piece of parchment paper and made some more chocolate swirls for the top. I just repeated that same process for swirling the chocolate everywhere, wanting to make sure I had like the same squiggly type of lines and everything so it all matched together. And then I took my cake out again and I put that part. Now my cage goes above my cake, which is what I was hoping for as the end result. So I never took the parchment off. I wanted to finish the top cage first and then peeled the parchment once everything was nice and stiff and chill. Now I went ahead and covered the top one. It was a little difficult because I was trying not to break the cage at the top, but I totally did because I kept tapping it, and again my chocolate lines were very thin, so it was very easy for them to come off. It was fine. It was fine. I wasn't stressing it. I was not stressing it. But I went ahead and covered the top part, and then I stuck that in the fridge to chill. And then once it was chilled, meaning once my chocolate was nice and stiff, I took it out and I slowly peeled my parchment paper. And I wanted to be careful, so I didn't peel the entire thing at once. I peeled like section by section, basically ripping my parchment paper away from the chocolate. And it came off really easy. My only issue, like I said, my cage went above my cake, and that's how I wanted it to stay, to kind of look like a crown. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case because the chocolate was so thin. It just was like snap, and it just started snapping in some places. So I just had to go with what I was doing. I had to just deal with it. After that, here comes another fun part. I got to use fruit, which is always really kind of like the best garnish for cake. To me, it's always so nice to use like fresh fruit and flowers. It just looks so pretty. So I had some strawberries and I had some blackberries. I was gonna go like get raspberries and blueberries, but I didn't want to overdo it too much. So, and my cake wasn't like a wide cake. It was very tall and dainty. So I didn't want to put too much fruit. So I used a lot of strawberries that I put in places at the top, on the corners, a little at the bottom corners, and then I used some blackberries and I covered that in gold luster also, and those looked so pretty. To adhere it all together, I used some buttercream in a piping bag to kind of place it all, and then any like chocolate pieces that may have been laying around, I kind of stuck in there in between the strawberries, and it was looking really, really pretty. And then I just went around and kind of slightly touched everything with gold luster. And that was it. That was it. And this is my beautiful cake. And isn't she just glorious, darling? She's just glorious. She's just ready. Let me tell you something. She is ready, and she is willing, and she is ready. Okay, she is ready. I love her so much. I love this cake. She's so gorgeous. This technique has given me so many more ideas, and I'll definitely be doing this cage theme again in the future. I'm excited for it because it's so pretty. It's just so pretty and elegant and gorgeous. Thanks for joining me again for another tutorial. I hope you guys have been checking out last year Valentine's tutorials that I did. I'll link them down below to kind of give you guys an easier directory. And also make sure you follow me on Instagram at Jelena Simpson. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys on Friday on Valentine's, because I think I may come out with another video. So y'all getting like 2 videos in 1 week, y'all. Oh snap! Oh snap! Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!